Recognition and reaction are often mistaken as one movement, but they are not the same. This is the 7-minute daily focus, day 92 of 365, to focus on the world within from the world without. Today's focus, the law of thinking, recognition and reaction. Pause for a moment. Recognition and reaction are often mistaken as one movement, but they are not the same. Recognition is origin, reaction is response. Recognition determines what is received within. Reaction determines how thinking moves after recognition. So if recognition is within, but reaction follows what is physically seen, instability begins. Because thinking becomes divided. It begins with origin, but then follows appearance. And this division interrupts continuity. Pause. Thought is within, effect is without, and thinking stands between. Recognition determines the seed. Reaction determines whether thinking remains with it. So reaction is not harmless. Reaction either protects the seed or it disturbs it. And most reaction is not deliberate. It is automatic. It is conditioned. It is driven by what is physically seen. So the work is not to eliminate reaction. The work is to become aware of it. Thinking determines outcome, but reaction determines whether thinking remains aligned. Active thinking observes reaction. It does not follow it. Passive thinking becomes reaction. It moves with it. So the difference is not whether reaction appears. The difference is whether you follow it. Recognition must remain within, but reaction attempts to pull thinking outward through what is seen, through what is heard, and through changing conditions. And if thinking follows, continuity is broken. But if thinking remains, reaction loses its influence. So reaction is not the problem. Unobserved reaction is. This is where awareness becomes essential. To notice the moment reaction begins, to notice the pull toward what is physically seen, and to notice the shift in thinking. And then to remain, not to fight, not to resist, but to remain, because remaining restores alignment, and alignment restores continuity. If reaction is followed, interruption begins. Thinking becomes unstable, direction becomes unclear, continuity weakens. But if reaction is observed and not followed, thinking remains steady. And steady thinking supports unfolding, physical expression. This is where steadfastness becomes power. Remain aligned with what is within. Do not be moved by reaction. Do not be moved by what is physically seen, because what is physically seen is always secondary. And reaction belongs to the secondary, but you remain with the primary. Thinking requires position, and position is maintained by not following reaction. Let reaction pass, let it appear. But do not move with it, remain with recognition within, and let thinking stay aligned. You are not trying to stop reaction. You are learning not to follow it. So today, observe. Observe when reaction appears. Observe the pull, and remain with what is within, because each moment you do not follow reaction, you strengthen stability. And each moment of stability supports unfolding. And what is supported continues. And what continues unfolds. And what unfolds must physically express. Consider this more deeply. Reaction often feels immediate. It feels justified. It feels as though it must be followed. But reaction is not authority. Reaction is simply movement based on what is physically seen. And what is physically seen is always changing. So if thinking follows reaction, it is constantly adjusting, constantly shifting, constantly losing continuity. This is why many do not see unfolding, not because the seed is absent, but because thinking is repeatedly interrupted by reaction. Each reaction may seem small, a moment of doubt, a shift in attention, a response to what appears, but each moment carries consequence, because each moment either sustains or interrupts. So the work is not dramatic, it is subtle. It is the quiet awareness of reaction as it arises, to see it clearly, to recognize it without becoming it. Because the moment you become reaction, you move from origin to appearance. And when you move from origin to appearance, thinking divides. But when you observe reaction, something different happens. You remain within, and because you remain, thinking remains aligned. This is the difference, not the absence of reaction, but the refusal to follow it. So reaction becomes a moment of decision, not a decision made with effort, but a recognition of position. Will I remain with what is within, or will I follow what is physically seen? And this decision happens quickly, quietly, repeatedly throughout the day. So mastery is not found in one moment. Mastery is found in many small moments of remaining, where reaction appears and you do not move, where appearance shifts and you do not follow, where conditions change and you remain with origin. Each of these moments strengthens stability. Each of these moments protects continuity. And each of these moments allows unfolding to continue without interruption. And over time, something becomes evident. Thinking becomes less reactive, less divided, and less dependent on what is physically seen. It becomes settled. And in that settled state, reaction loses its influence. It may still appear, but it no longer directs, because direction has already been established within. So do not be concerned with eliminating reaction. Be concerned with remaining with what is within, remaining with recognition, remaining with origin, because what you remain with, you sustain, and what you sustain unfolds, and what unfolds must physically express. Now, the affirmation for day 92. Pause for a moment. I recognize from within. I observe reaction. I do not follow it. My thinking remains aligned. I remain steady. I remain continuous. And because I remain, unfolding continues. And what unfolds must physically express. Remember, by design, by focus.